Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. We're here in windy Westwood, where at Fairview Stadium, they'll probably have practice here in a few hours. It's a Tuesday afternoon, but they won't have a game Friday night because they're traveling on the road. They're going to Raceland for the big rivalry game between the Eagles and the Rams. And I'm here with Matthew Sparks, Zach Fleming, I'm Aaron Snyder. I think, guys, that game will crack into our top 3 games of the week.
There's a good chance.
Yeah, so check out our Chick-fil-A ticker to see some of the other games that are coming up this weekend, and also a recap of scores this past weekend. Guys, when you look at this past weekend, it was a weekend of the Road Warriors in our area. Every single road team involving a Northeastern Kentucky, every single road team, with the exception of one involving Northeastern Kentucky teams, came out ahead. The only home team to come out ahead was Belfry, and that was against Lawrence County, who almost upset them. So, you know, just it's a good time to be on the road, I guess. It's good for Fairview. They go on the road this week.
No question. They're hoping they can, not a very long road trip for sure, but a very different atmosphere, and probably the term hostile environment is overused, but if ever it was applicable, it would be for this rivalry. So they certainly will have to be at their best to get one there on the road.
You know, you look at this past weekend, and something that I have to call Mr. Sparks out on is the West Carter-Fleming County game.
Why in the world would you do that on live TV here, or tape TV?
Live.
You picked the Panthers at home because they were at home, and then West Carter goes in there and beats it, drills them 43-0.
Of course, that was a wrong pick, of course.
Hey, I thought it'd be close. So
well, I mean, I thought we missed closer than that, of course. I think I kind of misread maybe the motion that they might be playing with. Maybe it was more of a Russell hangover, and Fleming really had trouble with West Carter's speed, turned the ball over quite a bit, so I was way off on that one.
Fairview coach Fred Ray, quarterback Alex Roy, and running back linebacker Jonathan Ruggles will join us here in just a bit. And right now we're going to go to game balls.
Oh,
Matt, you go first.
Well, I'm probably going to go with Bryce Workman, quarterback from John Central. You know, it's kind of touch a pig within that backfield that the Golden Eagles have, but Bryce had 5 carries, 87 yards against a very good Greenville County defense. He took 3 of those carries for long TD. He's a very versatile quarterback, a great field vision, I think. You can always go with Bryce Skaggs, too. He had 172 yards. And of course, Tyler Pack. I don't know if anybody's heard.
How many game balls are you giving out, Matt?
I'm going to give out 3 today.
well.
I mean, had an 89-yard punt, which is a state record. So really, maybe, you know, if you get a state record, maybe you deserve a game ball.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, you're giving it to a plethora of people. What about you?
I'm giving it to more people than
Oh,
you.
jeez.
And I try not to use paper for this shenanigan unless I have to, but I've got like 8 names here and I need to get them all right.
Okay.
Rowan County came into Boyd County, a must-win for them in terms of the district to try to get in the playoffs. Rushed for 37 yards the week before that against Greenup County. Came in and rushed for 339 by our count against Boyd. The offensive line and their blocking guys were a big part of that. Kane Perry, Nathan Perry, no relation according to Ray Graham. AJ Smith, Andrew Kelsey, Andrew Dillon, huge for Rowan County on the offensive line. Tight ends Brad Thomas and Dalton Martin filled in for Blake Chapman, who was still out with an ankle. And wingback Dylan Foltz, back for the first time since he was injured against Bath County. Ray Graham spoke very, very well of him, said that he was just phenomenal blocking. So that's a wingback blocking lineman on the interior and linebackers as part of their wing T attack. They were able to control the ball, control the game, control the score. We had them for 39 of the 48 minutes they had possession of the ball. Rushed for over 330 yards. It's just, Ray Graham said their goal is 300 yards rushing and 30 minutes of possession, exceeded both of those and won the game. So a lot of game balls out there, but a lot of deserving people certainly in that game for Rowan County.
Yeah, and you know, another offensive line that put forth the dominant effort was here on Friday night. Paintsville's front 5. I'm not going to give them to all 5. I'm not that giving. Oh, plus I remember all their names. I apologize. But Kent Phelps is going to get my game ball because he rushed for 225 yards against Fairview, and in a big game, of course, you know, scored 4 times. Phelps was just all over the place behind a great offensive line, an experienced offensive line, and that could go a long way. If Phelps, you know, Phelps being healthy this year has made a tremendous difference for Paintsville. And a lot of times, you know, of course, Cash Daniel is going to get a lot of the conversation revolving around him. But Phelps is a guy, just like I talked about a couple weeks ago with Luke Trimble. These guys are not, or should not be forgotten, because there is a reason that they're number one, and there's several reasons for that. So Kip Phelps gets my game ball. All right, toss the game ball aside. Top 3 games of the week. Fleming County at Bath County. Such an important game because in that district, Class 3A District 5, you have 4 teams right now tied at the top. The loser of this game is going to likely be in 4th place because we would probably safely say that Russell and West Carter are going to win this weekend against Lewis County and Pendleton County respectively. So the loser of this game, guys, will slide down to 4th place for the time being. Places a lot of emphasis on it.
No question. Fleming and Bath both have some impressive wins this year. Of course, Fleming probably the biggest surprise in the district this year going into Russell and winning. But last week, West Carter came out and just absolutely hit them in the mouth. I think Bath is a little bit more fundamental on both sides of the ball. Now, Fleming is dangerous, but I think Bath is a little bit more sound. That's the reason giving the slide edge home.
Hey, trying to pick, you can tell me someone pull your hair out. So it kind of happened to me, I guess, this week. So I guess they're going to follow the script. I guess Fleming goes into Owensville and pulls out a big win. But I think I'm going to give Bath the edge too in here. I think Bath has a not an explosive offense like West Carter, but I do think they have a pretty high-powered offense with a lot of speed. I think Fleming kind of has a little problem with that. A young team, the Panthers. Nathan Schwartz, I do believe he's had 777 yards and 13 touchdowns rushing this season. Also has 3 receiving. He's got some you got to prepare for. But I think Bath slide edge on.
Yeah, another Schwartz, Landon Schwartz. He gets in there from time to time and is a heavy contributor as well. I like Bath County. I like Bath County at home, not just because they're at home, right? But the Wildcats are playing well under first-year coach Johnny Pointer. He's come in there and dramatically changed the complexion of that program, and it really has shown the first several weeks of the season.
Another thing about this game, too, these are 2 teams that are probably about a year ahead of where they should be. Fleming lost so much to graduation last year, but they're right back in the thick of it. Bath has kind of been down the last couple of years, but they're right back, and Johnny Pointer's kind of injected some life into that thing.
Yep, absolutely. How about Greenup County at Ashland, guys, at Putnam Stadium on Friday night? The Musketeers last year at Greenup County really gave the Tomcats some fits. It ended up being 22-8. Ashland emerged victorious there. But when you look at this game, once again, Greenup County's defense could have something to say against Ashland and the formidable rushing attack led by Quentin Baker. Of course, they had 290 rushing yards against East Carter last week.
I said coming into the season I thought Greenup could play with Ashland, and I still have a lot of respect for their defense. And Ashland in recent weeks has shown kind of a troubling trend of slow starts. You might even say they're playing down to the level of their competition early in the game. It's taken them a while to get started. If they do that against Greenup, they could be in serious trouble. But I think the narrow escape against Greenup last year showed them that we can't do that against these guys because Greenup is capable of beating Ashland if Ashland does not bring its A game. Ashland has so much athleticism, they have a little bit more than Greenup does. Greenup is sound, so that almost is a wash in a lot of ways. But I think Ashland has finally gotten to the point where they're realizing, hey, we got to show up. And if they show up every week, this is a team that's capable of making a run all the way to Bowling Green. So if they show up against Greenup like the way I think they will, they give Ashland the edge of Putnam.
And that's another O-line that's made a lot of strides.
Yes.
We looked at that game last year. It was 8-8, late third. I think Ashland had some timely turnovers. I think Quentin Baker ran one back for a fumble back for a touchdown. I think Greenup's offense is a little bit better now with the turnovers, not having so much this year.
They haven't committed that many this year.
And Quentin Baker, I think, averaged 213 yards this season. With that Greenup's defense, I don't think he gets to that. But I think he's still going to make some big plays to help them get the Tomcats over the top. And I don't think Greenup can go into Putnam Stadium and score enough points to win this game. So I'm going to go with Ashland.
I like Ashland too. When you throw in guys like Noah Roberts and Kirtland Brown as well, that kind of helps Quentin create a little space for him.
Yeah.
And create a little space for that explosive play. And all it might take is 1 or 2 explosive runs. He might go, 10 rushes for 10 yards and then break one off for 80. but that's all it takes with Quentin, because once he gets past you, you're not going to catch him.
I will say, if there is any defense in this area capable of bottling him up, it is Greenup. They are fundamentally sound, and you have to be, thing about Quentin, as you mentioned, you have to be fundamentally sound every single play, because all he needs is just a credit.
That's right. That's right. So we all go Tomcats there. We all went Wildcats for Bath County. Are we all going to go Rams? Are we all going to go Eagles? Split decision. Here we go. Fairview at Raceland. What do we got?
Well, I like, you got to love Fairview's offense, what they've been able to do. You got to love Raceland's defense, that front seven. Again, one of the better ones in the area. You put Greenup in that mix at Johnson Central as well. Just think, again, what Raceland was able to do to Fairview last year twice is just absolutely shut down that offense. But Raceland has a new secondary, and they've played well, but they're still a little bit younger. I think Fairview scores more points than they did last year. It's a closer game, but I like Raceland to make the plays at the end.
It's going to take some disciplined play from the Rams linebackers. Seth Holbrook there in the middle has been solid as an anchor there in that core for the last couple of years. I think if he has a good game, it's not just on him, but I think if those linebackers play well, Bailey Walker included in that, if they play well, because, you know, Fairview likes to, they like the screen passes, they like the slants, and they execute those very well, and they're hard to defend. You have to be very disciplined as a linebacker.
Well, this is a huge rivalry. I mean, I grew up in Raceland. I know all about this rivalry. I got stories I could tell, but we can save that for another show. In this game, even really has even a bigger meaning. How great Paintsville has been this year. Only 3 teams district. You only get 2 district games, but there's a huge, much bigger meaning for this game. You know, we talk about Fairview's offense. You know, they've been up and down the teams this year. That offense, you know, just one big play away from putting 6 on the court. So, but. I think Raceland may have a good slight edge on defense. I know I'm wearing red today. We're in the Eagles' nest. But I think Fairview leads Rams Stadium seeing red. I think Raceland takes it.
Yeah, I'm with the Rams too. I like the rushing attack too, with Kane Snyder leading the way.
You know, Raceland's had a week off to prepare for this game. It's senior night, also senior night at Rams Stadium. I think that's going to play into it.
Good point.
That's why I take the Rams.
All right, Alex Roy, Jonathan Ruggles, and Fred Ray coming up. All right, here in windy Westwood today, joining us is quarterback for Fairview, Alex Roy. Alex is a 4-year starter for the Eagles, and this year, Alex, you guys have played well at times, and you've not played so well at times. It's kind of been that Jekyll and Hyde team a little bit. What do you think's been the difference in the games that you guys have won and the ones that you guys have lost?
Turnovers. Basically, whenever we turn the ball over, that's our offense has shown times where we scored rapidly. Again, off turnovers, and that's been the difference in the games that like we lost close. But in the games where we limit turnovers, we come out, we look like we're one of the best teams in the state.
You guys have played really well at home. Of course, you finally did lose at home against #1 Paintsville this past week. But it seems like maybe a little different team at home.
Yeah, I'd say that's the way mindset for everybody that plays at home. Not a lot of teams like to go on the road, but yeah, we just feel more comfortable playing down here. We got all the fans down here that cheer us on. We practice down here every day, so that's where we'd like to be at.
1,835 yards this year, 21 touchdowns, 5 different receivers with at least 150 yards. A lot of guys you can go to. You know, with the graduation of Blake Smith last year, I didn't know what you guys might do there, but it seems like guys have stepped up, like Mason McIntyre and Dylan Romine, and the list goes on. And of course, Antoine's always there. So talk about your receivers a little bit and how steady they've been.
It's been we've preached all year that we're gonna need somebody to step up since Blake left. And Antoine, he's starting to see double coverage, triple team. So I think Mason and Dylan and even Ron Akers, they've stepped up tremendously this year.
Antoine, he gets the most out of his size, doesn't he? And it seems like, you know, he has 609 yards receiving this year, and he's also rushed the ball for a ton of yards and has 6 scores on the ground as well. So what is it about Antoine that kind of sets him apart from other receivers, from other defensive backs?
He's a playmaker. He's quick. He can score anywhere on the field. You can put him up on the 1-yard line. And he has the ability to take it 99 yards right out the gate. And he's so quick. He's small, but he's got a lot of fight into him. I will give him that. And he can go up, he'll go get one. And he realizes that he can use his quickness to get around people. So
It's a weird schedule in a way, just because it's nothing in your guys' control. You guys only have 2 other teams in your district, so just 2 weeks out of the year are district games. Paintsville, of course, you guys just played them, and then Raceland coming up Friday night in Raceland. You have to be so on point for those 2 weeks, don't you?
yeah, and that just comes back to our schedule. And Coach Ray's done a great job this year scheduling the teams in order to get us ready for these 2 district games and get us ready for a playoff run that we're hoping to have.
You just told me before we came on here that you might go back out for baseball, so that would be a 3-sport guy now, you know, with basketball as well and then baseball. So tell me about that decision.
Well, I mean, it is my last year in high school, and my plan is to go play college football, so it'd be the last shot I'd ever get playing the sport other than football. So.
Well, to the colleges out there, they still got a chance to snag you, don't they?
Yeah.
I know Division I football is your dream, and I'm sure you want to play quarterback at Division I level, don't you?
Yes, sir.
What do you feel like this team can accomplish the last few weeks of the year? Of course, you know, big game with Raceland, that will go a long way in determining, you know, where you guys are going to be in the playoffs. But you know, this team's dangerous, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I think we've shown signs of it this year of being a very dangerous ball club. And a lot of teams realize that, especially with our offense and the high-powered yards that we're putting up. But our main thing is we need to get by these 2 weeks, and then I feel like we will be ready for that playoff run.
One of the new things I'm doing here, I'm trying to do it every couple weeks or so, is throw in a yearbook segment. Okay, you know, you see the yearbook, like, you know, best smile, most likely to be successful, things like that. Well, I'm going to ask you 3 things, and you're going to pick somebody from that locker room that would fit this description. Okay, first, most likely to be a comedian.
Bobby Miller.
All right. Most likely to win the lottery, but then turn around and lose the ticket.
Hey, hold on.
And finally, the smartest guy of the group, most likely to cure cancer.
Isaac Campbell.
Isaac Campbell. All right. Alex Roy, thanks for joining us once again. Jonathan Ruggles is coming up next.
We're back with Jonathan Ruggles, junior running back, linebacker for the Fairview Eagles. And Jonathan is a big contributor on both sides of the ball and leading rusher on the team, 400+ yards. Also kind of an asset in the receiving game. What's it like to be part of an offense that's so diverse and is able to throw the ball and also run it when you guys need to?
It's great. It gives the running back a little bit of breathing room whenever he doesn't have to run it all the time. And the passing yards, you have Antoine Washington receiving, Mason McIntyre and Dylan Romine. They're all stepping up out there too, so this is great.
It's a lot going out there on a Friday night and knowing that you're about to be part of an offense that has the capability of putting up a lot of yards and a lot of points.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It has a great feeling to it.
Sure. Okay. Defensively, also, you're one of the leading tacklers, and Coach Rex Cooksey's come in and kind of changed a lot of what you guys do defensively. What's it like to play for him?
It's funny.
Yeah.
He gets you ready for every game. He is the person you want to go to for every game. He is ready, and he wants you to succeed.
A lot of thinking, a lot of different things with his defense. What's it been like to kind of get acclimated to changing the defense of what you guys do?
It was pretty good. It was different starting it off as he came in coaching, but after that we bought into it, and now we're a defensive team.
What do you like more, offense or defense?
I'm more of a defensive player.
Yeah.
I like to hit people.
Yeah. Yeah, very solid. Two-sport guy. You've played basketball in the past, but kind of focusing on football and baseball. And you guys have had some good moments in baseball the last couple of years. Played close in the district tournament with Ashland last year. And I guess what do you guys want to do to take the next step from a baseball perspective?
I want us to buy in as a team in baseball. Last year it wasn't a lot of team effort. we made a lot of mistakes, and this year we can do better.
A new coach in Ryan Nip, what's he like? Have you gotten to meet him yet?
Yeah.
Kind of see what that's going to be like.
He's funny. He's going to be a good coach, and we all have a lot of respect for him.
Okay. Back to football for a minute. And you guys, Fairview and Raceland and Paintsville, are all in the top 10 in Class A right now. What's it like to be in a district with 3 teams that are just all so strong and so stout at the same time?
It's kind of strange. It takes a lot of time and effort to get in prepared.
Obviously, a huge game with Raceland this week. It's a district game. It's your rival up the road. What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like on Friday night up there at Raceland?
It's going to be crazy. It's a rival team. There's going to be fans screaming, hollering, ready to attack.
Right. Off the field, what do you like to do when you're not playing ball?
I like to hang out with my buds and go fishing.
Yeah. What do you like to learn about in school? What's your academic interest?
Matt.
Math? Yeah. All right. This is Jonathan Ruggles. Back in a second with Fred Ray.
All right, here with Fairview coach Fred Ray in his second year. First of all, Coach Ray, how's Ohio U doing this year?
Hey, my Bobcats are rolling right now. They have that one loss, and close one at Minnesota. They're 5-1, and I think they're 2-0 in the MAC, so I'm on that bandwagon for sure.
And I'm sure you don't get to see him very much. You're a busy guy here, but have you got to see him at all?
I went up a few weeks ago, obviously in September, and watched them play Marshall, and that's always a good win. I remember playing Marshall, and it's always good to get that bell. We have for a few years. They don't play till 2019.
Coach Ray smiling pretty wide right now.
Oh yeah, you know that. Yeah, I'm fired up.
We're sitting right in front of this rock. It says, tonight you play for Westwood. That was up last year, as you informed me. I didn't even see it last year, but it was up last year. Tell me about the meaning behind that. Why does it say Westwood instead of Fairview?
It's a community thing. We want to get back to the community. Westwood is a very tight-knit community, and I want to let the boys know that each and every night we go out on the field that we're playing for Westwood, and obviously our school, and I just want to get that feel back here.
And you guys have been really good at home. Now, of course, Paintsville beat you guys 38-12 here at home on Friday night. You're leading into that Raceland game, the big matchup this coming Friday at Raceland. Coming off of that game against Paintsville, Coach, what are some of the things that you kind of pinpointed and some of the things you're kind of preaching to the team? Hey, we got to do this better. We got to do this better going into this week.
We got to correct those mental mistakes. We had some busted assignments on Friday against Paintsville, and we play #1 team in the state, and they have some good players. You can't have that. And they did what they did well, and they executed. But we said correct the small things. I think from opposite standpoint, correct and shore some things up front, offensive line, and correct things in the run game. And I think if we do those things, we can compete with anybody. So I think if we just do those things this week, it should be a good game on Friday.
When you look at the Raceland-Fairview rivalry, how do you define that rivalry?
Oh, definitely. It could be heated in some spots. Depends who you talk to with both communities. And then some people have that quote-unquote hatred toward each other, and some people are just cool and laid back about it. But I think it definitely tips off. You see the communities come together on Friday, and then for those few hours in there, people don't like each other, and they may be friends across the way, won't speak to each other, but definitely a good rivalry.
I know some people from Raceland that won't even travel through Westwood to get anywhere, and I know vice versa, same thing for Westwood people. So, when they have to get together on the same field on Friday night, there's a lot of tension there.
Yeah, you can cut through a knife or something like that. It'd be hard, but definitely some tension on Friday night with Fairview Racing.
Yeah, this game, against Raceland, it's one of those things where you look at secondary once again. And I wrote about the secondary leading into the Paintsville-Fairview game, but also when you look at the Raceland game, that's an area on the field that they lost a lot from last year, and I'm sure you guys will try to exploit that.
Definitely, I think each team tries to find a weakness, and just from the standpoint of the Raceland, they do things well, both sides of the ball. Give them credit for that. Coach Sam does a great job, but we want to expose it. First chance to expose something, we want to expose it. So it's all about us executing. So we think we can do that on Friday.
So far, can you kind of describe the bipolarity of this team? It has been kind of a two-faced team. 1 week it's like, wow, they could beat anybody, and then the next week, it's just kind of a letdown. So how do you kind of describe that?
I'm still trying to figure it out myself. I'm just kidding, but that's just how it is. You're coaching 15, 18-year-olds. You don't not quite sure what you're gonna get each and every week, but definitely know I got a good ball club, and it's all about mentality. We just got to focus on what we need to focus on and not get too rattled when things may be going our way. And once we learn that, we still got some time here towards the end of the year. We learn that we're going to get things rolling. We can make some moves in the playoffs.
I asked Alex the same thing we were talking about before we came on camera. Some teams have 4 or 5 district games. With you guys, it's just 2. It's just 20% of your season. So, how do you just get so, you have to be so on point for those 2 weeks, don't you? Because those are the most important games.
Oh, definitely is the most important game. And with only having 2 district games, this year in terms of scheduling wise, we had to toughen up our schedule, kind of prepare us for that. Because now I feel personally our district's probably one of the toughest in the state, even though we're at 1A. But it's one of those things that's grinding it out each and every week and just trying to learn and grow.
Yeah, all 3 of the teams have been in and out of the top 10, mostly in for most of the season. Paintsville's handled that #1 spot for several weeks now, and it seems like the Tigers are pretty legitimate out there, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty legitimate. They got a big senior class and have good leadership. Do really well on all 3 phases, offense, defense, special teams, and definitely deserving that #1 team in the state.
What about Coach Ray? Off the field, some hobbies. What do you do in your spare time?
I'm a pretty laid-back guy. Obviously go to church on Sundays and just like to hang out with friends and kind of laid back chill. Obviously I love college football. My Bobcats, if I'm in town, if I'm not taking the guys on college visit on Saturdays, I'm watch my Bobcats on Saturdays.
Speaking of college visits real quick, Alex Roy, can you just talk about his ability and how he could be a Division I quarterback?
Definitely has all the tools. I remember coaching him as a freshman. And then obviously I left him as a sophomore, but coming back to last year, this year, he has the tools to get things done and play at that level. The quarterback position is a developmental thing. It takes some time. Some guys don't get as quick as others. So definitely, I know he can play at the Division I level. He may be a redshirt guy if that time happens, but he has a skill set.
A lot of talent's going to be on the field this Friday night at Raceland, so if you don't have any other plans, go check out Fairview Racing on Friday night. Coach Ray, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Right, back on HTPT. It's time for 2 for the road before we hit the road, Matt. Go.
Well, I don't know if anybody caught the Texas-Oklahoma football game.
All the score.
The Red River Robbery. Charlie Strong kind of embattled as a coach, and to see his teams rally around him late in that game and then celebrate with him on the field, had to do your heart good. I think as fans and as media, we're too quick to write some of these players, some of these teams off. You're looking at Texas, a proud program. It's only the beginning of Charlie Strong's 2nd season. You got to give it a little bit of time. The same thing happened with Alabama. Lost to Ole Miss. Everybody was riding off the dynasty. They went down to 12 in the polls. It was really terrible. Yeah. So then you watch Nick Saban in his press conference after the game, and he just told the media, "We don't care what you think. We're not here for you. We're not here for whatever you write." So these fans and these media got to settle down.
Chill out a little bit.
This is Alabama. We're talking Alabama. We're talking about Peyton Manning in the first game of the season. Had no touchdowns and only 175 yards passing against the Ravens. Oh, he's done. He's 39
just
years
like
old.
Tom Brady last year.
Yeah.
Put in Garoppolo.
Yeah, at 39 years old, Peyton Manning's best days are behind him, but he's Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. Come back the next week, scored 3 touchdowns, 2 for 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs, and now they're 5-0. So just calm down.
All right, college football, you had just a big news day on Monday, and there's so many headlines you can go through, but I'm going to pick 2, and they both involve Steves, and they both involve USCs, Southern California and South Carolina. Steve Sarkisian. It was originally announced by AD Pat Hayden that, he was going to be, he wasn't healthy enough to coach. So basically what it amounted to was a leave of absence as Clay Helton stepped up from his offensive coordinator position to be the head coach for the interim time being. What it turned into several hours later, though, was Sarkisian is out. He's fired, and apparently there are some reports that he has a drinking issue. He showed up to a booster event, an esteemed booster event before the season, seemingly intoxicated. He showed up on Sunday to the practice facility, seemingly drunk, and apparently, according to some of the players, he might have been drinking before one of the games this season. So, granted, that is uncalled for, but the way USC handled it, I didn't agree with. Like we talked about, Matt, if they would have just hammered out what they needed to do behind closed doors before coming out and announcing, well, he's still the head coach, just not for the time being. And then a few hours later, no, he's actually fired. And then they contact the players via text message that their coach is fired. Then you have Steve Spurrier from South Carolina. The head ball coach calls it quits. He's resigning. He says, not retiring, but resigning mid-season amid some adversity. It makes you question Steve Spurrier a little bit. So, like Zach mentioned before the show, which is worse, the handling of the USC situation, or just the fact that Spurrier up and leaves South Carolina?
Well, I think it's the handling of the USC situation. I think it kind of reverts back to what I just said. You don't have to be in such a rush to get the word out. You need to keep things more internal, and then come to a group decision to what to say to the media and the fans. I think that would have been a whole lot better if they would just waited through the weekend, got their thoughts together, and then announced what they were going to do.
All right, we got so much to get to locally, and we're not going to mention it all here, but keep an eye on the Daily Independent because it's going to be chock full. It's going to be chock full of postseason play, and that's not football yet.
Yeah.
That's soccer. Region soccer's coming up, boys and girls. District volleyball, it's going to be a wild week next week for us and the area.
Very busy.
Yep, and by the end of it, we'll see who's going to represent at state for soccer, and then we'll see who's going to represent in the region for volleyball. So it's going to be an eventful week. We hope to be coming at you from Paintsville next week. We'll see what we have in store. From Matt Sparks, Zach Fleming, I'm Aaron Snyder. HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. See you next week.